Hello friends, 537 days of war. On Ukrainian reserve, it is not unlimited, yet it seems it is enough despite all casualties, especially on Zaporozhe Front, to continue its counteroffensive here. Though very painful and slow, and still hold Russian counterattacks in east and to some limited extent even in north. Mercenaries and NATO trained troops do supplement to some extent the Ukrainian losses. Now they are being deployed on Belgorod and Sumy regions. How about Russian reserves? Yes, they too are not unlimited, but not sufficient enough for Russia to open a new front in north or in northwest. By the way, it is interesting to note that Ukraine claims to have killed 253,290 Russian soldiers. Now from the war zone in south towards Kherson, fresh reinforcement are being brought by the Ukrainians to its bridgeheads on left bank of Dnieper River. And there is continuous artillery duels from both the sides in addition to uses of drones. On Zaporozhe Front towards Orikho, the Ukrainian attack on Rabotino and even on Pyatikhatki is surging. On Rimivka salient, the Ukrainians are attacking on Urozhain from the northern direction, where the southern part is still being held by the Russians. Towards Staromayorsky, the Ukrainians carried out attack on the forest belt, which is on the western part of the city, and took over tactically important positions. In east, fight is on towards Siversky Ledge, Marinka, Ugledar, though without much changes. Russian army repelled Ukrainians' attack on Krasnokurovka. Ukrainians are bringing reinforcement towards Razdolovka again, which is north of Bakhmut. Southern flank of Bakhmut, the Russians counterattacked and gained the control on southern part of Kleshivka, which Ukrainians has taken over 48 hours before. The Ukrainians are continuing their attacks towards Kurdyumovka, Ozarinovka, and they are continuing heavy shelling in these areas, probably with the aim of attacking these regions. In north towards Swatovo, the Ukrainians carried out 2 attacks but without any gains. In Kupyansk direction, the Russian army is continuing its offense in the northeast direction and with the aim of moving towards the left bank of Oskil River, had some minor gains. They also managed some gains towards Karmazy Novka and Novosilovsky direction. Liman direction, the Ukrainians launched almost 5 assaults towards Serebryansky forestry without any gains, while the Russians have been trying towards Torsky, Terny and Yampel, but no changes. Interdiction missions continuing from both the sides. Ukrainians shelled Kursk. Also, they used UAVs to attack Belgorod region. The Russian artillery continues heavy shelling all across the battle line, especially on Zaporozhe, Bakhmut and Kupyansk front. It also must be noted that the Ukrainians are not far behind the Russian army in artillery firepower as well as range, which was so obviously far behind it 3 to 4 months earlier. Russian Air Force launched missiles on Odisha and Zaporozhe regions and even used drones. These are the overall situation in the war zone, not very different than what was happening since last a week or 2. Just to summarize, the Ukrainians are continuing their efforts to break through the first line of Russian defense in south and also trying to amass their arms, ammunition, and manpower on Kherson region towards eastern bank of Neva River, so that an opportune moment they can launch a fresh counterattack from that side. As far as east is concerned, by and large it is status quo, while in north the Russians have the initiative and are continuously moving forward, though at a slow pace. Some other informations. Zelensky's PR manager said to New York Times, Ukrainians are trying to escape military service due massive number of war casualties. One information says that Turkey has quietly supplied Ukrainians cluster munitions. It is not far behind what France and Germany had been doing. Many Israeli reservist pilots have said they are no longer showing up for volunteer duty in protest against Netanyahu's judicial reforms. There were huge protests and demonstrations in Nigerian cities against possible military intervention in the neighboring country Niger, and similar was reported in Ghana as well. People of Africa are rising. What you see in background is the story of 40,000 children who are working in Democratic Republic of Congo in the mines to help the big businessmen, financiers gain profit. Do you accept this? In Indian state, Haryana, police has arrested 80 YouTubers who made videos on the riots and posted it on social media. Instead of checking the rioters, the state is angry with those who have exposed them. And that's all from my side. Thank you, friends.